Welcome to a special edition of The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, a campaign promise President Rodrigo Duterte vows to fulfill.
Nothing short of a federal setup would appease the morrow of Mindanao.
A shift to a federal form of government.
The antidote is federalism, because the essence of federalism is non-concentration of power.
The consultative body reviewing the 1987 charter finishes its draft constitution.
A group of 22 unanimously approved the political dynasty provision. I don't think we will. It will be a very, very heavy debate.
But not without controversy.
Even if you have a good draft coming from the Consultative Committee, that can be mangled by the Congress itself.
Also a proposal to cancel the 2019 midterm elections and a possibility of a people's initiative. Consultative Committee Chairman and former Chief Justice Renato Puno joins us in the program. And later, a modern-day treasure hunt. Is this sunken Russian warship filled with gold? That's for today's In Focus. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. The Consultative Committee tasked to review the 1987 Constitution heeded the President's call to add a provision that he is not interested in running should the government shift to a federal system. Malacanang says this will dispel rumors or speculations that President Rodrigo Duterte wants to extend his term in office. Meanwhile, House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez is determined to cancel the 2019 elections in order to speed up the transition to federalism, but senators oppose his proposal. Let's go straight to the source of the story. Consultative Committee Chairman and former Chief Justice Renato Puno, CJ. Thank you again for being here. It's good to see you, sir.
Yeah, thank you too, Pinky.
You're welcome, sir. 5 months of work by the 22-member Consultative Committee. How do you feel having been able to pass the draft Philippine Federal Constitution?
Well, we have done it in accordance with the timeline given to us by our President. The next hurdle should be the Congress of the Philippines.
You know, I'm going to bring this in because it was former Solicitor General Florin Hilbay said the intention could be good by the members of the Consultative Commission, but when it gets to Congress, that may be a different story, CJ.
That's right. Congress is a different venue, a different battleground. But unlike them, I would like to presume that Congress would act as representatives of the people in accordance with the best interests of the people. And so, I will not prejudge the action of Congress.
You have faith in the lawmakers, sir?
Yes, because, you know, the public pressure will be there. And I am hopeful that they will feel the public pulse and act accordingly.
5 months, I said, sir. Was that enough time for the 22 members to finish this draft constitution? Nagmadali ho ba kayo or did you need more time?
Hindi naman kasi marami na rin mga versions yung federalism. Mayroong version yung PDP laban. Mayroon ding version yung House of Representatives. At nung mga nakarang panahon, pinag-usapan na rin yung federalism, lalong-lalo na nung panahon ni Pangulong Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo. At ito namang mga miyembro ng Consultative Committee, they're supposed to be knowledgeable, they're supposed to be experts. And that is the reason why they were appointed to the committee. And so, tama-tama lang yung timeline na binigay sa amin.
CJ, do you feel that there should have been possibly more representation from other members of different fields doon po sa Consultative Committee, sir?
Maaring mas magaling ngayon kung mayroon mga ibang miyembro doon representing the other disciplines. But that did not prove to be a real hurdle to the members of the committee, because we were able to call the experts on different fields in order to help us draft this proposed constitution.
Let's go to the nitty-gritty, sir. Himayin na natin some provisions, certain provisions of the draft Philippine Federal Constitution. One of the most talked about provisions in this Constitution, or draft the Philippine Federal Constitution, sir, would be Article 22 of the transitory, or on the transitory provisions. In fact, sir, binalik po ni Presidente sa inyo para ayusin ito.
Yes.
Let's talk about this. Section 1, the term of the President and the Vice President shall end on June 30, 2022, shall not be extended.
Yeah.
Would this mean, sir, the President, President Rodrigo Duterte, the Vice President, Vice President Leni Robredo, will end their terms in 2022?
Yes, pursuant to the 87 Constitution.
Is it possible, CJ, that there could be some enabling law that may eventually be, that lawmakers can create, that may extend the term beyond 2022?
Hindi siguro posible yun. A law can never violate or run counter against the Constitution.
Section 2, sir, the incumbent president is prohibited from running as president in the 2022 elections under the Constitution. Tell us more about this, sir.
Yan ang specific response ng ating Pangulo doon sa mga agam-agam, yung mga criticism ng kanyang mga detractors na itong draft constitution ay gagamitin lang niya para makatakbo uli sa 2022 election. Kanya ganyan ang naging tagubilin sa amin ng ating Pangulo, na ilagay na ninyo dyan sa transitory provision in clear and specific language that he is banned from running in the 2022 election. At yan nga, noong bumalik sa Consultative Committee, hirap na hirap kaming gawin yung language. Kasi kung
why, sir?
Hindi namin nagkaroon ng mahabang debate kung ilalagay namin yung dahilan bakit binaban si Pangulong Duterte. Dahil kung ilalagay mo lang he is banned from running, yung makakabasa nung Constitution, lalong-lalo na sa ibang bansa, ay iisipin na siguro napakasamang tao nito. Kanya binan sa pagtakbo do sa eleksyon sa 2022. And that does not reflect the truth. Ang katotohanan, siya mismo ang nagsabi na ilagay nyo na yan, yung specific ban against me in the Constitution itself.
Is that why you did not include this in the original draft, sir?
Hindi, doon sa original draft ay pinag-usapan na nga yan. Pero nung umpisa pa, yan ang palagi ninyang sinasabi sa publiko, na ayaw na niya na tumakbo pa sa susunod na halalan. Sinasabi niya yan sa publiko tuwing mayroong conference. At noong binuo niya itong Consultative Committee, ay yun din lang sinabi niya. Ayaw na niyang ma-extend yung term niya beyond 2022.
But because the President asked the Consultative Committee, specifically yourself, sir, na to explicitly say it in this draft Constitution, kaya po napasok sa Section 2, the incumbent President is prohibited from running as President in the 2022 elections under the Constitution.
Yeah, that's the reason.
CJ, can the Vice President run
In the of course,
2022 elections? Ang banned lang po, just to be clear, is President Rodrigo Duterte.
And that is because he wants the ban.
Yes, sir. Siya ho ang humingi. Just to clarify that. All right. So here, so the Vice President can run sa 2022. Let's go to Section 3, sir. Within 6 months from the ratification of the Constitution, the President shall, so within 6 months, shall call for an election for the transition President and Vice President in tandem. The transition President and Vice President shall possess the same qualifications and be subjected to the same restrictions as provided in Article 8 of this Constitution. Tell us more about this, sir.
Again, the President did not only want to have another term as President, as a regular President, but in addition, he also did not want to be President as soon as the new Constitution kicks in. Kaya muli, sinabi niya noon na 6 months after the ratification, ay magkaroon na ng provision dyan na tumawag ng eleksyon para sa isang transition President at transition Vice President. Sapagkat pagka nagkaroon na noon, ay bababa na siya sa katungkulan. In other words, during the transition, ang role ni Pangulong Duterte ay iisa lang, tumawag ng isang halalan.
Yeah. So, the problem though, CJ, I don't know if you will agree that some people see is that it's the President that does not want to be a transition President. Pero bakit parang nasasama, napipilitang masama dito si Vice President Leni Robredo? What will happen to her?
Ay pagka na pagtibay na po yung bagong konstitusyon, lahat yung opisyalis ng 1987 na konstitusyon ay maaapektuhan. Hindi lamang po si Vice President Robredo. At natural po yan mayroon tayong bagong konstitusyon.
But what about the mandate of the people, sir? That goes for President Duterte and Vice President Leni Robredo, that they have been elected for a term of 6 years, sir.
Ang mandate nila ay doon sa 87 Constitution. Kung pinalitan na yung 87 Constitution ng bagong Constitution, may bagong mandate ang taong bayan. At yung bagong mandate na yun ay nandun sa bagong konstitusyon.
But would you agree that it becomes a little bit unfair for the Vice President because hindi naman ho siya nagsabi na ayoko na or gusto ko maging transition Vice President?
That change comes as a logical aftermath because of the new constitution, and everybody is treated indiscriminately. Walang discrimination doon. At kung yun namang taong bayan, ayaw nila yung mapalitan yung mga opisyalis natin sa 87 Constitution, hindi nila pagtitibayin yung bagong Constitution. So, ang bottom line, ito yung pinagtibay ng taong bayan.
CJ, you're saying basically, kung gusto nyo ito, vote for it during the plebiscite. If you don't want it, don't vote for it in the plebiscite.
That's the definition of sovereignty of the people.
All right, we'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Still to come, what are the chances that the anti-dynasty provision in the proposed charter will pass through Congress? Former Chief Justice Reynato Puna will still be with us after the break. CJ, so...
Sila ang nagtatanong.
For strong and enduring.
Simula pa lang ito.
Because you have complied with all the requirements of the law.
Time we will launch.
To join me in sending them up.
Diyos, ito mismo ang diwa.
You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, CONCOM Chairman and former Chief Justice Reynato Puna. Sir, so the President cannot run beyond 2022. He said that, isinama niyo po yan. But can he run for any other position? Pwede ho ba siyang tumakbo? Any other position? Senador, Congressman, Mayor?
Sa kanyang mga statements, he does not want any further involvement in government, whether in an elective capacity or appointive capacity.
But will the Constitution allow him to?
Ang wording po ng Constitution ay ban from running as President. Yes.
Yeah.
Pero para namang absurd yung situation na ayaw na nga ng taong mag-presidente, pero tatakbo pa na nga sa isang posisyon na lesser in capacity. Parang hindi
It goes beyond logic, is that what you're saying?
Seems to be very absurd.
Yeah, but sir, can people change their minds?
Well, the people can change their mind, but we will not anticipate that kind of a possibility by writing it in a constitution.
But, so please answer the question. Can he run for another elective post?
Oh, yes.
Pwede. The President
Yes.
can run. Let me just go through very quickly because the CJ and I were talking during the break. So the President loses his mandate, sir. The Vice President loses his mandate. Pero yung mga senador and congressmen and the local government officials shall continue.
They will also be losing their mandate under the 87 Constitution. But under the new Constitution, assuming it is ratified, they will be continuing in office in a holdover capacity. That is normal in every change of the Constitution. Otherwise, if you completely eliminate them, there will be a paralysis in government.
So they shall continue on a holdover capacity. Very quickly, though, I just want to go to Section 6, CJ. This talks about the Federal Transition Commission. So apart from voting for a transition president and vice president, we are going to have what is called the Federal Transition Commission, in which the transition president shall be chairman.
That's right.
And he shall appoint 10 regular members who must be, there it is, natural-born citizens. What is the mandate, or what is the job description, I guess, sir, of the Federal Transition Commission?
Well, the members of the commission shall be appointed by whoever will be elected as transitory president. And the task of this commission, who are independent, non-partisan, experts in different fields, would be to assist the transition president in effectuating the shift to federalism.
But it is going to be the transition president who will appoint the 10, sir?
Yes, because the power to appoint is essentially an executive power. But the president cannot just appoint any Tom, Dick, and Harry. The qualifications are specified
Are
there.
set forth.
And we don't find that that kind of a transition commission in the 87 Constitution. We don't find that in the 73 Constitution or in the 1935 Constitution. Again, the purpose of the Consultative Committee is not only to form a team to assist the President, but to see to it that, that the transition is less characterized by political partisanship.
If we were to elect a transition president and vice president, Chief Justice, why not elect the 10? That will be part of the transition committee as well. Kung boboto na rin po tayo, bakit hindi na natin isama yung 10, sir? Napag-usapan ho kaya yun, CJ?
Hindi napag-usapan yun. Ang napag-usapan lang yung eleksyon ng transition president and vice president. Yes. At mayroong disqualification yung mga tatanggap ng posisyon na yan. They cannot be elected in the next election. And, yes.
In the same token that the transition president, to be clear, and transition vice president cannot run in the 2022
That's right.
elections as well. For any position, no,
yes,
CJ?
Ang role lang nila is strictly to make that smooth shift from unitary to federalism.
All right. Sir, the anti-dynasty clause. We had Senator Bam Aquino yesterday questioning the anti-dynasty clause. Mabuti po pakinggan na lang po natin ano yung reaction ni Senator Bam Aquino regarding this. Let's listen.
So in short, yung anti-political dynasty provision na propose ng CONCOM is political dynasty for everybody, but not the president.
And the vice president.
And the vice president, whoever that will be. Of course, hindi naman natin tinutukoy dito si President Duterte. It's prospective, but I found it very, very, irregular. So, that you would have an anti-political dynasty provision, but exempt the president.
Exempt the president and the vice president.
So in short, pwede ka magka-presidente, yung anak, senator, yung isang anak siguro, mayor, or at least meron kang dalawa, and then everybody else, basically bawal. So this was something very peculiar.
PJ, what's the wisdom behind exempting the president and vice president in this anti-political dynasty clause?
Exempting President Duterte?
No, the president, yung magiging presidente po and vice president in tandem. Because how
doon sa 2022 election.
Yes, sir.
Doon sa 2022 election, covered si President Duterte noon. In other words, halimbawa, yung anak niya, si Mayor Sara, cannot succeed President Duterte as president. Covered siya doon.
But if we have a new president, sir, in tandem with the vice president,
A new president
and vice president tandem in 2022,
Yes.
how he's saying it, how the senator is saying is that they are going to be exempt from the anti-political dynasty clause. Yung presidente, yung magiging bagong presidente and vice president, sir.
Yung anti-political dynasty na yun, that will be effective as soon as the new constitution sets in. At again, makikita nyo dun sa ginawa naming provision, yung ban ng against political dynasty, yung second degree.
Yes.
Yun ay pwedeng dagdagan ng ating Kongreso. Kanya kung halimbawa, sa pag-iisip nila, kulang pa yung ban na dapat masakop yan.
Third degree.
O third degree, or fourth degree, or yung sinasabi nilang presidente or vice-presidente, let them do it. At yan, talagang binigay namin yung kapangyarihan sa Kongreso. In other words, yung ban on political dynasty na ginawa ng committee, that is just the floor. Kung gusto ng Kongreso, kagaya, di ba, sinasabi ni Senator Bam na kulang yan, di dagdagan nila. Walang problema
I think, CJ, ang sinasabi po ni Senator Bam is yung anti-political dynasty clause should cover everybody from president down the line, sir.
That is the spirit. Kung palagay nila, dapat klaruhin yan. Let them do it.
Okay. All right. A point raised, though, regarding the anti-political dynasty clause, sir, is that during the BICAM meeting on the Bangsamoro Organic Law, or the BOL, sir, natanggal po ito. What are the chances, you think, and how would you feel in the event that, of course, we understand this is draft constitution subject to the approval of both houses of Congress. Ano ho ang inyong magiging pakiramdam sakaling tanggalin po itong anti-political dynasty clause, sir?
Ay, ako, and I'm speaking only for myself. Kung tatanggalin nila yung provision on anti-political dynasty, ay hindi ko po susuportahan yung shift to federalism. At ang dahilan niyan ay inaalis nga natin yung power nitong mga political dynasties. Sa federalism, binibigyan ng more powers yung mga regions, mga officials ng mga local governments. Nandyan po yung mga political dynasties. Kanya kailangan natin itong provision na ito on anti-political dynasties. Kung hindi, lalong magkakaroon ng monopoly of political power yung mga dynasties. And that will be the end of federalism.
This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Coming up, lawless violence as one of the grounds in declaring martial law. Former Chief Justice Renato Puno will explain after the break. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, CONCOM Chairman and former Chief Justice Renato Puno. Again, during the break, we were speaking, CJ. So, para po sa inyo, ito pong anti-political dynasty provision covers, to be clear, does it also cover the President and Vice President, CJ?
That's right. At kung sa palagay ng ilang mga senador natin hindi klaro yan, iklaruhin nila at yun ay most welcome sa amin.
Okay po sa inyo yun, yeah.
Yes, kasi yan ang talagang isang provision na pinag-usapan ng matagal ng Consultative Committee At unanimous ang voting namin dyan. At ganun ang spirit niyan, to cover everybody.
Everybody. Okay, at least that's clear from the Chief Justice himself. National territory, again, being discussed, sir. I will try to condense what is, ano ho ang parang kuro-kuro or apprehension dito, is because that in the national territory article, that's Article 1, that's the first article of the Philippine Federal Constitution. It talks about the national territory, but questions were raised on why did you not include the West Philippine Sea and Sabah? Bakit ho hindi siya kasama as being siguro commented on by some critics?
Kasama po yung Sabah tsaka yung West Philippine Sea. Doon sa first paragraph ng national territory ay nakalagay dyan yung mga territory na mayroon tayong sovereignty. At ang isa dyan yung mga territory nga mayroon tayong sovereignty by virtue of historic rights and title. Ang tinutukoy po niyan ay yung Sabah. Mayroon din tayong section 2 dyan. Yung namang sovereign rights ng ating bansa kung saan ma-exercise yan. At ang nakalagay dyan, yung maritime...
To the extent reserved to it by international law,
yes, maritime expanse beyond its territorial sea to the extent reserved to it by international law. Ang tinutukoy po dyan yung West Philippine Seas. So, very clear po yan. At saka yung provision na yan, sinasabi nilang wala, nandyan yan eh. Yung provision na yan, wala sa 87 Constitution.
I guess the question is this, CJ. If you decided to put the word Philippine rice, the words Philippine rice, why did you not include the West Philippine Sea? To be very, I guess, particular about it, CJ, ano ho ba naging discussion regarding this?
Again, we are writing a constitution. It's a matter of form, matter of style. Ang classic instruction dyan, yung Constitution, hindi dapat na detalyado yan, hindi dapat na pakahaba, dahil ang ginagawa mo lang dyan, yung framework of government. Kung isusulat natin dyan yung nangyari doon sa permanent
the Hague ruling
Court of Arbitration, may 1,000 pahina yata yun eh. Gusto ba nila ilagay namin lahat yung pinagtalunan doon kung ano yung decision ng arbitration tribunal?
But you could have just put including the Hague ruling, yes, that, let's say, hindi ho ba? I guess the question is, why did you put Philippine rice, sir? And you did not put the West Philippine Sea?
Dahil yung Philippine rice, that's something new. Kaya nilagay natin yun. At yun, yung Philippine rice na yun, yan hindi lang parte ng continental shelf. But it extends further. Kaya mabuti yung ilagay yun.
And what, sir? There's no need to put the West Philippine Sea?
Hindi, kaya yung mga nakakaintindi ng international law, hindi kailangan ilagay yun.
Would it have been so bad? I mean, what would have been the consequences, sir, kung nilagay nyo na lang po?
It could be limiting. Mine-mention mo lang yung West Philippines.
You can say including the Hague ruling.
Yes, but even then, you look at the other constitutions, that's not the way they do it. Ang importante, nandyan ba yan? Nandyan yan.
It's included.
Yes.
I guess because CJ, how do you feel when they say that you did not include this because of the pro-China stance of President Rodrigo Duterte, sir?
Well, again, you know, some of these critics would impute malice when there is none. And let me just assure that when we made this draft, we acted independently. We acted on a non-partisan basis. And we are proud of saying that we did that.
How do you feel, though, with one of the CONCOM members, the former Senate President Nene Pimentel, he wanted to include it, hindi ho ba, CJ? Gusto niya isama yung sa Saba?
Oo, gusto niyang isama yung Saba, pero he was also satisfied that we put in there the basis of our claim for Saba.
We were able to interview the former Senate President himself. Let's listen very briefly to what he said during the interview.
Yeah.
Ang gusto ko lang sana na in the definition of our national territory, of course, ang suggestion ng karamihan sa CONCOM na yung may meets and bounds lang. Pero gusto ko sana isali na Scarborough atin yun.
Ilalagay doon mismo? Oo.
Spratlys atin yun. Benham Rice atin. Because parang pinapatrol.
You want to be that specific po?
I wanted to be that more specific. Pero sabi nila kung gawin yun, ganun kakapal ang ating
kasi ililista mo yung territories.
So, general principles lang.
Will you invoke, kunwari, yung observe yung decision in The Hague or mga ganon? Papalagay niyo po yun?
Plus Saba.
Okay.
Oh, of course,
but that will be more, will be more specific.
Yes, kung you mention Saba, pero by historic rights na lang yung sinasabi to include our claim over Saba.
I guess CJ, ako po, no, if you tell me, which I do understand a part of it that you're saying that kasama naman po siya in Section 1, Section 2, but if it were included as the Philippine Rise and the Hague ruling and the West Philippine Sea, sir, you were saying, and together with the former senator, he was saying kakapal. They're mere words, sir. I mean, you don't need to include the ruling of the Hague in the draft federal constitution.
But again, you look at our previous constitutions, 35, 73, 87, ay wala naman yung mga ganong specific names doon. So, ang importante ay sakop yun. And that is very clear. Yes.
But if we go back, I need to bring this further, sir. Kung the past constitutions did not mention it, times could be very different now. Hindi ho ba, CJ?
In what sense?
For example, the Hague ruling, we won that, 3 years ago? So, hindi naman po talaga siya masasama, for example, in the previous constitutions. Agawan sa...
Oh, pero nun, wala pang kaso nun. Pero kine-claim na natin yun.
Yeah. All right. Okay, this is The Source on CNN Philippines. Up next, no elections in 2019 or a People's Initiative. Former Chief Justice Renato Puna weighs in after the break.
Ako si Ruth Cabal at ito ang Newsroom ngayon. Ano ba ang hiling nyo para mas mapabuti ang estado ng mga manggagawat? May pagkukulang pa ba sa pagtrato sa kababaihan? Sa unang
You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, CONCOM Chairman and former Chief Justice Renato Puno. Another part of the article, sir, is the federal court. So, magugulat ho ang tao dahil hindi na isa ang, we don't have one Supreme Court except we have about 4.
Yes.
Okay. And then, just to put that, there will be a total of 38 associate justices, 8 each for the Federal Supreme Court, which is the first one, Federal Constitutional Court, and Federal Administrative Court, which we'll talk about later, while the Federal Electoral Court will have 14 associate justice in its bench. Sir, My previous interview, I understood the wisdom behind this para medyo ma-delineate yung functions ng bawat korte, every Supreme Court, sir. So, will this not cause possible confusion among the citizenry?
No, it will not cause any kind of confusion. The confusion may arise only when there is no clear delineation of the different jurisdictions of these four high courts. And we saw to it that the jurisdictions of these courts are clear and sharp in the draft constitution. So we are not thinking that there would be that kind of confusion. And let me say that this establishment of different high courts has been done in other countries, and with a lot of success, especially in the matter of reducing the backlogs of courts, in speeding up their justice system, and improving the quality of decisions.
If we stick to the 15 justices of the Supreme Court, CJ, matatagalan ho talaga ang pag-resolve ng mga kaso, is basically what you're saying, sir?
Oh yes, and that is established by empirical evidence. Ako naging Chief Justice ako, at talagang na sobra-sobra yung inaakyat na kaso sa ating Korte Suprema. Hindi lang mga kaso. They have saddled the Supreme Court with non-judicial duties. Pag tiningnan mo yung mga konstitusyon ng iba't ibang bansa, tayo lang ang may ganyang klaseng Supreme Court na napakadaming kaso, napakaraming mga non-judicial duties. Kanya ganyang kabagal ang takbo ng kaso sa Korte Suprema.
CJ, what about the thought or the proposal, ba't hindi na lang damihan yung members ng the Supreme Court, the Associate Justices of the Supreme Court?
That is not a solution. At ang isang magiging problema niyan, pag dinamihan mo yung justices, dinamihan mo yung divisions, lalong dadami yung mga salusalugat na decision yan.
From one division to another,
yes,
sir, is what you mean.
Yes.
All right, but we are going to see if this happens for Supreme Court. Meron pong Chief Justice na 4, tama ho ba?
Opo.
For Chief Justices that are appointed by the President.
Ang, again, dati-dati, yung appointment niyan ay galing lahat sa Presidente. So, ang inisip namin ay bigyan ng parte yung 3 branches of our government in the appointment of these justices. Again, anong purpose nun? Para walang may monopoly ng power of appointment ng ating mga justices. So, binigyan namin ng karapatan na yung 1/3 should be appointed by the President, the other 1/3 to be appointed by the other political branch of government, yung legislature, at yung 1/3 to be appointed by the judiciary. So, ganun po yung naging pag-iisip namin dyan kung paano i-depoliticize yung power of appointment.
So that's actually where I wanted to go. How do you actually depoliticize the appointment of these justices? You just answered that, sir, by merely dividing the appointment powers of the justices and members of the four Supreme Court. Sir, very briefly, because this is also important, impeachment. Can you explain this, sir? Kasi parang ang lalabas, it's not really going to be the function solely of Congress. Parang mapupunta po siya dun sa isang federal, one of the Supreme Court, sir.
That's right. Again, sa ngayon, ang sistema ngayon ay yung impeachment process is a political exercise. Ang nag-iimbestiga, nag-i-initiate, nagpa-file ng impeachment case ay yung House of Representatives. Ang trial court naman, yung ang nagdidesisyon ay yung Senado, which is the other half of Congress, another political body. At nakita natin na may mga problema kung yung proseso ng impeachment ay purely political, nagagamit for partisan purposes. At kawawa naman yung mga impeachable officials. So, inisip namin na yung proseso ay ibahin. Pero hindi completely change. Ang ginawa namin dyan, yung power to initiate, investigate, would still be lodged with Congress. It's not only the House of Representatives where the power would lie, but with the Senate, para walang masabi yung Senate na sila'y inalisan ng kapangyarihan.
Joint po sila, basically.
Joint sila. Okay. Pero yung husgado na that will try on the merits, yung impeachment case will be the Constitutional Court. In other words, the process of initiation will be political, but the trial of the case will be judicial.
Got it, sir. Okay. Yung pong lumalabas na the economy that such moves to shift to a federal form of government. Nagsalita po si NEDA Chief Secretary Pernia at nasabi niya po that this federalism will wreak havoc to the economy. But I must say, sir, that presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said that nakausap na daw nila at si Secretary Pernia regarding this.
Yes, at parang napaliwanag kay Secretary Pernia kung paano yung magiging allocation of powers between the federal government and the regions, especially the division of the taxing powers.
And
kami po ay binigyan namin ng kopya, hindi lang si Pangulong Duterte, pero yung mga miyembro ng kanyang gabinete, advance copies. Hindi ko alam kung nabigyan si Secretary Pernia. Pero doon nga sa lumalabas na balita, parang na-discuss ni Secretary Roque itong allocation ng powers at taxing powers. At napaliwanag daw. At after that, hindi ko na nabasa si Secretary Pernia na sinasabi yung ganong fear niya.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, CJ, because of this possible shift to a federal form of government, lumabas po itong no election scenario. What are your thoughts on that, sir? Do you agree?
Personally, I don't agree. Let the elections provided for by the Constitution push through. That is the will of the people when they ratify the 87 Constitution. But again, it's a personal view. At kami doon sa Consultative Committee, ang naging usapan namin yan We just do the substantive aspect of the work, produce the draft constitution. How this will be approved or whatever will be the action of Congress, we'll leave it to them.
But also surveys, sir, shows that Filipinos are opposed to charter change. Let's just briefly look at the Pulse Asia June 18 survey. Sir, 67% of Filipinos oppose charter change. 62%, sir, against federalism. 69% having little to no knowledge on federalism. And then SWS survey, 25% are aware, 75% unaware of federalism. How do you feel about that, sir?
To us, it's a challenge. But you look at also the survey showing that those who have heard about federalism, those who know about federalism, are in favor of federalism. So in other words, it's a matter of informing the people about federalism. And in truth, our committee has not done that because we have just finished our draft. But I'm sure that as we go around the country, we'll be able to convince the people about the merits of federalism. Paano naman pong aayaw ang mga taong bayan dyan sa federalism, kagaya mga local governments, yung mga regions, ay binibigyan sila ng kapangyarihan. Hindi ko rin maintindihan bakit aayaw ang tao sa anti-political dynasty provisions, yung mga provisions banning turncoatism. Hindi ko mawari kung bakit i-reject ng taong bayan yan.
Very briefly, sir, as a last point, the shift could possibly lead to authoritarianism, according to lawyer and one of the framers of the 1987 Constitution, Christian Monzon, sir. He said that we are in the slippery slope of authoritarianism and that this would allow dictatorship to flourish, basically, sir, in the next 3 years. Did that even cross your mind, CJ?
Hindi ko malaman kung anong base nila para sabihin na this federalism will lead to authoritarianism. It's a very general conclusion. And I want to know what are the reasons. Because the constitution that we drafted is pro-liberty, pro-freedom. In fact, ano ba itong essence ng federalism? To give more freedom to the regions. Sila naman ayaw nilang ibigay itong karapatan, itong mga essential rights ng ating mga regions. So sino ang authoritarian? Kami binibreak namin yung power Sila, they want to maintain the power. So, sinong authoritarian dito?
We'll leave that question hanging. Thank you to former Chief Justice Renato Puna. Sir, I know that the job is not yet over. Hindi ba?
Yes.
Magmamasid kayo, aabangan nyo. You will monitor what happens in Congress regarding this. Well, we thank you, sir, for guesting. We are glad you're here and explained this to us and broke this down for us. Maraming salamat po sa inyo, CJ. Thank you, sir. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. When we return, is there really gold inside this sunken Russian warship discovered off the coast in South Korea? That's for today's In Focus.
Next time.
Time now for today's In Focus here on The Source. Now, here's a modern-day treasure hunt story. A South Korean firm has discovered a massive Russian warship at the bottom of the ocean more than a century after it sank. There is also wild speculation it could carry a fortune of gold.
You're not going to believe it. I have a name. I have a name. It's in Russian. I can't read it. I believe I am approaching the stern. I'm right at the stern mast post. The mast is missing.
I have visual on anchor
Of the 8-inch gun and is lying 3 feet in from the starboard side.
Ship's wheel, over.
At the same position?
Yeah, I'm forward of the breach by probably 20 feet or so, and there's a small deck gun. Not sure. Oh man, this wreck is it's really wrecked.
Thank you for joining us here on The Source. We made the CJ think about that. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.